The real history of Valentine's Day. In the 3rd century, the Roman Empire was being invaded by Goths. At the same time, the Plague of Cyprian, probably smallpox, broke out, killing at its height 5,000 people a day. So many died that the Roman army was depleted of soldiers. Needing more soldiers to fight the invading Goths, and believing that men fought better if they were not married, Emperor Claudius II banned traditional marriage in the military. Emperor Claudius II quelled internal rivalries resulting from the previous Emperor Gallienus' assassination by having the Roman Senate deify Emperor Gallienus to be worshipped with the other Roman gods. Citizens were forced to worship the Roman gods by placing a pinch of incense on the fire before their statues. Those who refused worship of the Roman gods were considered unpatriotic enemies of the state and killed. Emperor Decian's persecution specifically targeted Christians with legislation forcing them to deny their consciences or die. During the first 3 centuries of Christianity, there were 10 major persecutions in which the government threw Christians to the lions, boiled them alive, had their tongues cut out and worse. Christian writings, scriptures, and historical records were destroyed. Because so many records were destroyed, details of Saint Valentine's life were scant. What little is known was passed down and finally printed in the year 1260 in Legenda Sanctorum by Jacobus de Voragine, and in the Nuremberg Chronicle, 1493. Saint Valentine was either a priest in Rome or a bishop in Terni, central Italy. He risked the emperor's wrath by standing up for traditional marriage, secretly marrying soldiers to their young brides. When Emperor Claudius demanded that Christians deny their consciences and worship pagan idols, Saint Valentine refused. Saint Valentine was arrested, dragged before the prefect of Rome, and condemned him to die. While awaiting execution, his jailer, Astrius, asked Saint Valentine to pray for his blind daughter. When she miraculously regained her sight, the jailer converted and was baptized, along with many others. Right before his execution, Saint Valentine wrote a note to the jailer's daughter, signing it from your Valentine. Saint Valentine was beaten with clubs and stones, and when that failed to kill him, he was beheaded outside the Flaminian Gate on February 14, 269 A. D. In 496 A. D. Pope Gelasius designated February 14 as Saint Valentine's Day. In the High Middle Ages, Geoffrey Chaucer, called the father of English literature, wrote Parliament of Fools, c. 1393, that birds chose their mates in mid-February, for this was Saint Valentine's Day, when every bird of every kind that men can imagine comes to this place to choose his mate. After Chaucer, literature began associating Saint Valentine's Day with courtly love. This eventually developed into the 18th century English traditions of presenting flowers, offering confectionery, and sending Valentine greeting cards. People often signed Valentine cards with XS and OS. The Greek name for Christ, Chi Iota Sigma Tau, begins with the letter X, which in Greek is called Chi. X became a common abbreviation for the name Christ. This is why Christmas is abbreviated as Xmas. In medieval times, the X was called the Christ's Cross, or Criss Cross. The Criss Cross row was the way colonial school children learned the alphabet, where they would start at the X and say, "May Christ's cross grant me speed, success," and then proceed to recite the 26 letters. It reminded students that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Mortals ne'er shall know more than contained of gold the Criss Cross row. The Christ's cross was a form of a written oath. Similar to the ancient practice of swearing upon a Bible, saying "So help me God," then kissing the Bible, people would sign a document with or next to the Christ's cross to swear before God they would keep the agreement, then kiss it to show sincerity. This practice has come down to us as sign at the X, or saying "I swear, cross my heart." This is the origin of signing the Valentine's card with an X to express a pledge before God to be faithful, and a No to seal the pledge with a kiss of sincerity. History is intertwined with Valentine's references. Frederick Douglass was born a slave and separated from his mother as a child. All he remembers is her calling him "my little Valentine." Theodore Roosevelt's wife and mother died on Valentine's Day in 1884. Depressed, he dropped out of New York politics, left his infant daughter with a relative, and went off to ranch in the Dakotas. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre occurred in 1929 during the Prohibition era. Al Capone's Chicago mob murdered 7 members of Bugs Moran's Irish gang. Accompanying Al Capone's hitman, Frank Nitti, as he terrorized neighborhoods was the young Saul Alinsky, who later adapted this technique into the political tactic of community organizing. Since the Roman persecutions, Christianity has become the most persecuted faith in the world, with more than 300 being martyred each day, or 1 every 5 minutes, predominantly in Muslim countries. Saint Valentine's willingness to be a martyr for Christ and his heroic, loving example still inspires believers to follow the scripture, "Love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them that despitefully use you, and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven."